Hey everyone, and welcome back to Chapel Farms. We're going to be talking about some tools you need to get started for your homestead. If you're new here with us, we grow vegetables, raise chickens, share everything about farming and homesteading. And today we're going to talk about some small farm equipment that you need to get started. It doesn't have to be a lot, it doesn't have to cost very much money, but there are some simple things that you're going to want to do to get started. We are here in our shop today. Yes, it's very messy, but yes, it's wintertime as well. You can probably hear some rain falling down on the metal roof right now, but we're still going to go through some tools that you need. If you're just getting started, you don't need a ton of fancy equipment, but to save you time and some effort, you're going to need a few key tools, so stay tuned. So this right here is called a pole saw. This is battery powered, and we actually got this pole saw at Harbor Freight. Why do you need a pole saw? It's easy and convenient to have because it's easy storage. You may not have to spend a bunch of money on a chainsaw right at first, and it's handy for clearing branches or cutting firewood or even breaking down some pallets. But you can also get a chainsaw as well if you live on a bigger property. Another must-have is a cordless drill. We use this Ryobi brand, but you're going to need a cordless drill and some other basic power tools to build fences, build raised beds, repair your chicken coop. You can use a drill for a ton of things, more than you even think. So if you're on a budget, you can start small. I know that Harbor Freight sells a brand. We like this brand that you get at Home Depot. And the batteries, you charge the batteries, and they're interchangeable between different types of tools. So if you get you a set of batteries and then different types of drills, different types of power tools, and they even have a chainsaw, a battery powered chainsaw if you need to take it to the other side of your property. There's a lot of things you can get. So this is worth the time. And if you already have a set of a certain brand that you like, you can start building from there. If you're working a larger garden, a tiller can save you hours of back-breaking work. You can get a small electric one for raised beds or maybe even a gas-powered one for larger plots. We actually have a tiller for our tractor that we use in our very large half-acre garden. For our garden, our raised beds in the garden, we do those by hand, and they're a lot smaller. But if you are wanting a plot of land for your garden and it's not half an acre, it's like 10 by 10, 10 foot by 10 foot, a gas powered or electric tiller is the way to go. They're probably selling those right now. It's February, so they're probably selling them right now in stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, Atwood's, Tractor Supply, things like that. So do your research. You might could even find something used on a Facebook marketplace. Do your research on what your needs are and what your garden will look like. We're going to walk out to the greenhouse to see some more tools that we use here on our small farm. As you can see, everything is kind of dead right now. It's the middle of winter. So one thing you're going to want to make sure you have are some good water hoses. I know this is a mess, but a good water hose will go a long way. You also probably will want to invest, depending on how big your garden is a timer for your water hose. These are small pruning shears. They're great for pruning your vegetables such as tomatoes, peppers, anything that you don't have to cut a huge stalk on. These are probably my favorite. You will use these way more than you think. Another piece of equipment is just the simple garden hoe. This is a garden hoe that I believe we got, maybe at Lowe's or Tractor Supply, maybe even Walmart. Walmart has these too. And we have 2 or 3 of these around here. You'll use the garden hoe pretty much every day if you have not mulched in your garden, if you're trying to get weeds. The garden hoe or maybe even a rake would help. Another thing you might want to consider getting is a pitchfork. That can help you with mulch in your garden if you're trying to do no-till. It can help you when you're cleaning out your chicken coop. It can help with a lot of things that you probably were not prepared for. So I would get a hoe, a rake, a pitchfork, and probably some gloves because your hands are going to stay dirty. So here's an example of a rake and a pitchfork, and we do keep these over here beside our chickens because we use these to clean out the chicken coop, and we use it to spread hay around. So we've got a couple bales of hay that we need to put in our chicken coop and spread that around. Another thing that you need to think about when we're talking about chickens is your chicken food. This is broken, but this is what we keep our chicken food in. And you're going to want to keep your food in something that's waterproof. So it's been raining, but this is waterproof. These are just food grade buckets that you can find at any home improvement store. I think these came from Lowe's. We usually try to keep a larger Rubbermaid tub on top just to protect it even more. Sometimes if you don't seal it as much or seal it all the way, maybe some raccoons could open it up. So just some extra protection. We'll probably put another one on here that's not broken pretty soon. If you have a larger garden or farm, you may be considering a tractor for all of your needs. This is our tractor that we have. It's a Branson tractor. It's got a front end loader on it. And as you can tell, we're trying to scoop up all of our compost to move to the garden. So a tractor, if you have a larger garden, a must-have for the tractor would be a front end loader, and some pallet forks would be another great implement to have for the front. This implement on the back is for us to grade our road and to level it out. We live down a gravel road and driveway, so that's why we have this. This is what the pallet forks look like. They're exactly what they do exactly what the name says. Is it picks up things on, it picks up a pallet. So you could have a bunch of wood or rocks or a piece of equipment stacked on your pallet, and then you're able to pick it up with the pallet forks. We also have a box blade that rips up the ground when we're trying to, the gravel road, when we're trying to make it even better. We have an auger to dig holes for trees or fences or anything you need to have a hole dug with. This is our tiller that goes on the back. As you can see, we have not used it since last spring, so we've got to clean this up. But if you have a tractor, that's something you can think about getting. And then we have a really specialized machine for our garden. This is called a mulch layer. It lays the plastic mulch barrier on rows. And then this wheel right here is where you put drip tape. So it will lay your drip tape, which is a way of irrigation, and lay your plastic mulch all at one time. Something else you can think about putting on your small homestead or garden is a way to collect rainwater to water things that those summer months where you're missing some water. We like to use this to water our trees and other plants. We use drip irrigation in our rows, but this is a great way to water everything else. You can actually pick this up with the tractor and the pallet forks and drive it around to wherever you need to go. We just collect the rainwater off of the top of the greenhouse. So a couple things else that you will probably need is some type of shovel or spade, like the smaller shovels, and a larger shovel if you're moving around compost, and then a smaller shovel like a spade and a rake. Those are good for planting your plants if you're going to plant seedlings, or even just moving soil around to put the seeds direct sow into the ground. So that's a great tool to have. When we talk about irrigation and watering, you want to make sure that you have the right irrigation system set up for your garden. Because we have a larger garden, we do drip irrigation. We use drip tape that goes underneath our plastic mulch. And we use the timer that goes on the water hose at the end where it hooks up so that it goes off every single day at a certain time. You can find those anywhere. Amazon, Lowe's, Home Depot, Harbor Freight. So make sure you find one that meets your needs. And then a great way to store water, of course, is the free rain barrel. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is making sure everything you store is rodent proof. So whether that's your soil or chicken food or anything that you're trying to store, if it's in a shop or a greenhouse or beside the greenhouse, you're going to make sure it's rodent proof. So that means you need some type of storage bins like the food containers. You need Rubbermaid tubs with lids on them, and they need to be tight lids because believe it or not, if they're the cheap Rubbermaid tubs that just click on each end, but you can kind of pull the sides up, a mouse can get in there. They can get in anywhere. So if you have a greenhouse like I do, we like to keep rodent traps in there, and I'll put a link into the description of the type of rodent trap we use in there. But ultimately, you're outside, you're farming outside, or you're having a small garden. Rodents, snakes, insects, that's all part of it. And you have to figure out what the best method is for you to keep rodents out of your garden, to keep the rodents from eating the fruit, to keep the snakes out of your garden or out of your greenhouse so you don't get a surprise. And then insects. And that's for another video, talking about insects and some type of repellent for them. So if you're on a budget, don't go buy everything new. There are great ways to buy used equipment that you don't have to buy new, like the shovels and the spades and the rakes. Go to Facebook Marketplace, go to Craigslist, go to farm auctions or even estate sales. You can find all kinds of equipment that you would spend a lot of money on, but get it really cheap at these other places. You really would be surprised what you find. Sometimes they're even selling tractors or farm equipment. We have gotten almost every single one of our implements for our tractor off of Facebook Marketplace for much cheaper than we would have gotten it if it was new, and it works just fine. So there you have it, the best farm equipment for your small farms for you to get started. Which tool do you think is the most important tool that you need right now? Leave that in the comments, and then we'll start talking about how you can get those. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, turn on your notifications because we're putting out information all the time. And in the wintertime is when you need to get started on all of these things. If there was something that we did not cover in this video or that we showed you and you have more questions about, go ahead and leave your question in the comment and we will get back to you. If there was